The Golden Ox trait in set 14 has been buffed time and time again, and now it's finally in a position where it's actually really strong in the right spots and with the right augments. However, it's pretty difficult to play because you need to balance pumping up your damage amp while still saving up a big economy to play around your expensive carries. So in this video, we'll be going over everything you need to know on how to win with Golden Ox. Our main carries are going to be the 4-cost Golden Ox units in Aphelios and Annie, as well as the 5-cost Viego in the late game. We'll also be using Leona as an extra 4-cost tank here too, and we'll be focused on pushing higher levels to find and 2-star our board. Now this comp caps out insanely high in the later stages if we can get all of our carries upgraded with the Golden Ox stacked up. The problem is though, it is weak early, requires a ton of money, and if everything doesn't go your way, you're probably going to lose some LP. The full comp uses Viego, Annie, Aphelios, Leona, Xayah, Aurora, Jarvan, Mordekaiser and Alistar. And seeing as this is a 6 Golden Ox comp, we can't really replace many of our units here without pivoting into a completely different comp. But there are a few options. You could play our Guardsman comp instead that focuses on 4 Marksman, 4 Vanguard, but still a couple of the main carries in Leona, Aphelios and Xayah. This is a good option if Annie is being contested or if you're struggling to go 9 to hit Viego. Another option is our AMP comp that focuses on Annie as the main carry alongside Viego, which could be worth playing if someone else is contesting your marksmans. A simple replacement in this comp though will just be switching out Aurora for Garen later on, and that way Garen can Golden Ox mod your other units, giving your whole board damage amp. One final focus is if you can't hit Aurora or Xayah, if these are contested, you can play around Samira, Yuumi and Neferi to add more AMP for your Annie, but it all depends on what the game offers you. Next up, let's get on to some items then, and we'll start off with Aphelios. He's a big fan of attack speed, so double Rage Blades will make him do a ton of damage in fights, and then your last item can be a Death Blade for tons of AD. We'd always recommend having at least one Rage Blade as attack speed is crucial, but slamming other options like Infinity Edge, Giant Slayer, or even a red buff will get the job done. For AP items, we're going to be joined by a little child and a big bear. It's Annie and Tibbers, and we'd recommend you build a blue buff, Nash's Tooth, and a Giant Slayer to get through the front line. We definitely recommend a blue buff for faster casting, but if you can't get the other items, you can also go for things like a Shojin, Death Cap, or a Jeweled Gauntlet. We're going to put all of our tank items in this comp onto Leona, and she loves a Warmogs for plenty of health, a Steadfast Heart for durability, and an Evan Shroud to give Aphelios and Xayah some penetration. As always though, tanks are pretty flexible, so giving her a Bramble Vest, Dragon's Claw or Redemption will all be fine if you don't have the ideal components. Finally, we then want to put all of our leftover or late game additional items onto Viego. As the 5-cost Golden Ox carry, he'll be a beast when we get him upgraded up in the later stages. We recommend a BT for sustain followed by a Jeweled Gauntlet and Hand of Justice for tons of damage. But as you can't be too fussy with items in the late game when it comes to your options, you can also slam loads of other stuff like Crown Guard, Edge of Night, or even a Rabbanon's Death Cap. When it comes to Spatulas, they make playing this comp so much easier, and it makes the comp generally a lot stronger too, as it means we don't have to play Graves later on, as he doesn't really add too much value. Plus, anyone we place the emblem on will gain the Golden Ox damage amp buff, so throwing that on a Xayah or Aurora will automatically make them a damage dealing monster. Moving on to augments next, and one of the most important things to look out for here is a Golden Ox crest or crown, as it just allows us to replace a low level unit with a 4 or 5 cost instead and give them the damage amp. And it also means we can activate 6 Golden Ox easier and faster. Then there's also the Golden Ox specific augment called Expensive Taste, which is also great as it drops gold every 2 rounds for the amount of Golden Ox units being played. It also makes your max interest 7, which is honestly insane because this comp needs all of the gold you can get. We simply can't stress enough how important it is getting to the later stages when playing this comp though, so getting your hands on economy augments will make the ride so much smoother, so look out for options like Raining Gold, Level Up and Slamming. Bulky Buddies or even Cybernetic Bulk are great here too, as it will make the front line so much tankier, giving Aphelios more time to scale up. Plus, if you get Bulky Buddies, this also works with Viego's spawned allies. A-tier augments for this comp include subscription service for more 4-cost availability, combat ones like Pumping Up or Calculated Enhancement, or even things like All That Shimmer, Fire Sale or AFK to give you that extra gold boost to get to level 8 faster. Your best chance to win when playing Golden Ox is to get yourself on a streak during the early and mid game so you can reach those high levels faster before anyone else does to find and 2-star your expensive carries. Plus, the faster we get to 50 gold, we can start playing around the Golden Ox stacks, and make sure every round you don't just pump your XP to sit at 50, because as the game goes on, the amount of Golden Ox stacks required to reach the next stage will be higher. So during stage 3, for example, you might have to get to 70 gold to pump 20 worth for the next stack threshold. And remember, you can only trigger this once per turn. Activating 6 golden ox as soon as possible is a massive power spike because you can then start printing components and start itemizing your remaining expensive carries. This means you'll need to find an early copy of Viego or use Graves for as long as you need to, unless of course you hit that +1 emblem. Speaking of the emblem, this will play a massive part in chasing first place, as you can pop the emblem onto another carry like Xayah or Aurora. Remember guys, more golden ox means more gold, more components, more stacks, and more LP. Late game, a Garen will be a fantastic addition into this board as you can print golden ox mods on all of your units. Finally, keeping copies of your forecasts too is also advised, as the amount of gold we're going to get late game makes it even easier to have a chance of hitting them 3 stars. Just remember to keep scouting and make sure no one else is holding any copies, and if they're holding 1 copy you can still hit, if they're holding 2, just sell up and use the gold for more stacks. Now as this is a fast 8 comp, the whole game plan is going to revolve around playing strong early game boards and reaching higher levels as quickly as possible. During the early game we want to activate golden ox as quickly as possible so we can play around Graves and Alistair here. Then we can throw in a couple of extra trait filling units like Dr. Mundo and Vane. Even with only 2 golden ox, there is a chance you get a gold when you kill a unit, so it's worth playing around early. Level up to 4 at stage 2-1 and try to get yourself on an early win streak. So slam items as soon as you can because you're going to need as much HP as possible for the mid game just before you start spiking and when this comp really comes to life in the late game. In the mid game though, you want to level up to 6 at a regular pace at around stage 3-2. Now you want to play around Bruiser still and add in an Executioner so Graves can start pumping out more damage, as he's a great early item holder. This is the part you're going to want to sit above 50 and make use of your golden ox stacks. When you have enough gold to buy XP for the next stack and not go below 50 will be the time to do it. If you do get an emblem from your augments, you can play Jarvan and play 4 golden ox during stage 3. At the beginning of stage 4, we should be ready to roll down here at either 4-1 or 4-2 to hit our 4 cost units, and we'll want to make sure we're playing at least 4 golden ox here. If you're healthy, you don't have to roll to 0 here, instead you could slow roll to 50 so we can keep stacking, because if we roll to 0 we'll have to build our economy back up over a few rounds and we won't be able to pump any golden ox stacks. Don't worry too much though, because if you hit 4 golden ox there's a higher chance units drop gold, and if you manage to hit 6 golden ox on your roll down, it'll be much easier to build the economy back up again so we can push level 9 during stage 5. If you have an emblem, it's pretty easy to activate 6 golden ox here as we actually don't need the Viego. So roll until you have a copy of Annie and Aphelios and place your emblem onto Xayah. During stage 5, here's where you'll be wanting to push to level 9 whilst using your golden ox stacks at the same time, and use that 6 golden ox gold to help you get there faster. Once at level 9 you can add in Garen who can print those mods to add tons of extra power to your board. If you hit an Aurora she can be thrown in now too, and remember to place a Zac or some other strong 5 cost unit on the left side of your bench to throw them in with Aurora's ability. More frontline is going to be more damage for Aphelios as those Rage Blades stack up. By this point in the game your damage amp will be super high from all of your golden ox stacks and you'll be one-shotting entire enemy boards. So now you can sit back, relax, keep pumping up that damage amp even further with all the gold you'll be generating, and even have a chance at hitting a 3-star 4 or 5 cost at level 10. Finally, just a quick look at positioning then, and it's a pretty standard 5 frontline 4 backline comp. You want to corner your Aphelios while having Leona above him as she's the tankiest unit. You want Xayah next to your Aphelios, especially if Leona has an Evan Shroud, and Aurora doesn't really matter too much as she'll jump out the map anyway. Annie can go in the other corner as she'll be fine throwing out damage and Tibbers to protect herself, and you want to put Viego in the front line as he'll be jumping into the middle of enemy boards. Although if you don't have an Edge of Night or if he's getting one shot, you can always just put him in the second row so he's a bit safer. And that will give you everything you need to know on how to play our Golden Ox comp in set 14. If you still need a bit more help when playing this comp because it is a tricky one, then check it out on our website by clicking the link below. And there you can follow this guide step by step in game with our overlay. You can also find more video guides just like this one to all of the strongest comps each patch on our tier list page. So check them out if you haven't already. Thank you all for watching guys, good luck and have fun.